So yesterday we have learned about Node.js documentation from Learn Node.js, and we have covered various topics like introduction to Node.js and how we can set up a very basic server which has a response like that. And after that we have covered what is V8 engine, then npm package manager, then we have covered the asynchronous flow control. After that, overview of blocking and non-blocking code, like what is a blocking code, what is a non-blocking code. And after that, so we have also covered like set timeouts, set interval, and then Node.js file system to actually manipulate the files. So we also have a little bit covered about APIs. So this is a very deep dive into Node.js. So not everyone can actually know what are the capabilities of Node.js without going through this documentation. So what we have is Express.js, which is a framework for Node.js. It will cover most of the things for us that are provided by Node.js. It is fast, it is unopinionated, it's minimalist web framework for Node.js. So actually you can install it from node npm install express, then save it as dependency, right? So after that, so let me give a very basic example of hello world. Here we have app.cat. As you can see in this example, we have first installed Express, then we have used it with required keyword Express module, then our app is Express, port is 3000. Now we will use app.cat at root path, request response, and then response.send hello world. You can also put a new line after that. We'll clear the terminal. So this all code is in the server.js, or we can say app.js. So to start the server, we will write node app.js. So our app is now running on port 3000. But when we change some code, let me just go to the browser. Let's put a local host 3000, and we have a hello world here. But if I write some other text here, how are you, if I now refresh it, it will not work, because I have to then close this and again start the node server. So now if I click on this, now this text has come here. So that is a problem with this simple node app command. We have to initialize or start the node server again and again. So to do that, to fix that, we can install nodemon in our dependencies. You have to install it globally, right? So after installing that, we can run nodemon app. So it has started our node app.js. So even if I write anything else, Okay, we have write some text. If I refresh it, this we can see the text has appeared here without need to restart the node server again. So now let me tell you about the routes. Now we are going to learn about the routes. So let's create a folder routes here. Okay, inside this create a file name routes.js. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we don't want to use this routing code structure at the root of our app. We can make a new file, and we can then in this file we can again use our express module, require express, and then we will use the router of the express.router method. It will expose the router functionality, and then we will write let me just remove this code from this app.js file. We don't have to write it here, we can write it here, app.get. But because here we don't have used app, we have imported express, and we have used router, express.router. For that we can actually write router.get, and then we can export it. Module.exports is equals to router. So inside this we can import, we have to use the we can use routes is equals to require routes. So in this folder routes.js we have import routes. Now we will tell the app to use at this path routes. So as you can see, let's try our server. Okay, so it's running without any issues. So that's how you can make another routes in your app. So after routes, there is a convention to use the controllers. Actually, there can be routes about different like products or different users or different customers or different invoices in your app. So you do not want to mix every code in a single line or a single file, I can say. So what we will do is, suppose we have a application where we have a database for customers, invoices, and users, products, so much more. So for that we have to actually make controllers. Let's create a new folder, controllers. Okay, so inside this folder let's make something like users.js. users controller .js, right? So inside this, so inside this we will write a code about the controllers, right? So okay, so let's copy this code and write here, right? router.cat, let's okay, router.cat. So first import our controller, not import, actually const. So let's name it user routes. Controllers, users controllers, and inside this we can actually provide user routes, right? So we want our path to be users, so we want inside users, then we can actually access this users controller, right? Let's test if it is working. Okay, I think we need to do some things. So suppose we have created the users controller, then okay, actually we will not use inside our user controller, we will not use this router. We can actually use, like, suppose a function like getUser. Inside this we will use a request response, and then we will set response.send like user, suppose user details. I'm just writing the hypothetical code here. We'll remove this, don't need this for now. So inside our module load exports we will use the inside curly braces we will first put the get user inside this get user, right? So inside our routes we have used already imported controllers, user controllers. Okay, so we have used router.cat users. Okay, okay, router.cat users, let me say we will use the column id, we will get the user by its id, right? So inside user routes, user let it call the user controller here, right? We will copy it here inside our get user controller dot get user, because we have used get user here and we exported it. We will use get user. Okay, so if I write users, user details, if I write 1/1, it is saying yes users. It is displaying user details, right? So so our get user is working. So what if I want to display the ID? Let's just console request. What is inside request? Just refresh it. In the div request we have some data. Okay, so now we have the users get details, right? So let's also create another controller. Suppose products controller, right? So I will make another products controller JS. Again we will write a function called get product, right? So in this again we will use request response, and then we will again console.log. No, we will actually rest.send product details. So we will just write product details here, and we will export this function. Export, we will write module.exports is equals to inside curly braces get product, and we'll just repeat the same process. Const, we will write name it product controller require, then from controllers products controller we will make another router.get call. Just write it products for now, simply products user product controller dot get product, right? So if I go to product inside our Chrome address, you can see product details is written here. So let's write here that it is user controller, or I can say user routes here, and after that on the top of products router get call we will write product routes, so that we know that here we will writing user routes and here we will be writing product routes. So we have our routes, our controllers. Okay, so now we will go more deeper. So inside our users, so we are like sending the ID into this users controller. If if we go to users one, it is simply saying user details, but we want to actually show like user one or user details one or user details two. To actually access these parameters, we can use const user id request dot params dot id, right? So I will remove this. I will convert into this backticks, and inside our dollar curly braces I will write user id. So now if I refresh it, we will see user details 1. If I change to like 5, user details 5, so it will fetch the user details about this id, right? So so we do not also always want to send the string to our front end. Most of the time in the front end we are sending a JSON that will be processed by front end code. So for that we will write it as user id and instead of send we will write as .json, right? So now if I refresh this, we have a data user id is 5. So our user id is now 5. If I now change again something else like 145, user id is 145, right? So this will go into front end, right? So this is the get request. Now we will know how we can do the post request. For post request, first in your app.js, just you install body parser, because for post we want to access request.body. For that we will need body parser. We will write npm I body parser. We will install this package body parser, then we will import just below express or below this express const body parser require body parser. Okay, so now we will tell our app to also use body parser. Body parser dot json, right? We want to use that JSON. Okay, So now inside our routes, let's make a post. For post, we mostly want to update the user. So for that, we'll write update user request response. For now, just send user updated. User updated. For this, we will write router dot post. Will run. Now this time we will use post request. Let me also export it from our users controller, update user. Now inside this, we will use users okay update id, right? So so we want to update the user of this id, so we will write user controller dot update user. Then in the users, we have used the post request, right? So what I want is I want to console log the request.body. I want to see what's inside this request body. Now if I go to users update like 5 users update, I think there's some problem with our address. Okay, our address is correct, but we cannot do everything on our browser. Just put our address here and check here. For that, what we will be doing it, we will be installing Postman on our system. So let me see if I install Postman or not. Have I installed Postman? I think no, I have not installed Postman. So download app for Mac. Okay, Mac, not Intel chip, I have Mac M1, so that is Mac Apple chip, so I will choose this Mac Apple. So it's installing. Okay, it's done. So let's start the Postman. Okay, we will open it. Our Postman is started. Create a free account. Okay, so create sign up with Google. I will sign up with Google. Choose this account, sock. We will grant the access for Postman to open this. Our Postman app is now opening. Now what's our role? Let's check CO. Okay, so our postman is opened. So let's collapse this collections. Getting started. Okay, so what we'll do is create a new post request. First, let's test it with get request. We'll close this. We'll close this. Okay, I think our server is closed. Let me check it again. It is our postman app. Let's refresh it. Users 5. Okay, we are getting the JSON. So let's copy this code in the postman. HTTP localhost user 5, then send. Okay, we are getting user ID as 5, right? That's great. We are getting the data. We're getting the data by this get request. Now we will open a new tab. Now we will add the post request here. We'll copy this and we will change it with update 5 because we have inside this the user's update ID route. We'll close this. Let me move it here, right? So send user updated. Okay, we get the message user updated that we have written inside our user controller user updated. Okay, so for now close this browser because we have installed the postman, so we don't need that, right? Okay, right, so we have a get command, we have post command. Let's close this, close this. Okay. For products, okay, so okay, we have not checked the requested body for update user. Let's send it. Let's send it again. Check. Okay, let's send post request. Body is undefined. Okay. Have we used the update user? We have used the post command with update. Everything's fine. Close this. Requested send console.log request.body. App.choose body parser. We have used even the body parser. I think we have to also use app.use express.json to parse the JSON bodies. Okay. So Let's again send the post request. What is again undefined? Request.body. Why it's undefined? app.use body parser.json app.use. Okay, everything is fine. Let's try to send the JSON response from update user. Like user is request.params.id and let the message be user updated. Okay, so let's send the post request again. We get the user 5, user updated. Okay, so it's working, but body is still undefined. So why it's that? Let's write user data here. So I think, are we sending the post request properly? Okay, let me send the key value inside this. Let me send the ID from here. 6. ID is equals to 6. Okay, now send it. Let's remove these parameters from here. Okay, remove this parameters from here. We will set ID as, let's say 6. Send message user updated. Body defined. Okay, app.post. Okay. So let's try to also make a update product for this product page. I can say for products res.json, we will simply just want to print user ID and user ID. We will now get const user ID from request.body.user ID. So the request I have to enter the user ID. Okay. Let me put it here, ID, send it. So the body is undefined, so we cannot read it. So let's try to do it in the post request. We will do the same thing. Router.post products update product controller dot update product. We have that update product, and we will also update product. Inside this, we will write update product. So this is the post request. We have written user.id. So for product, let me just copy this again, open a new tab, then put product update. Okay, there is an error because request.body is not defined. Let's put user data here. And now we will again send a post request. Message user updated. If I send post request for products, there is the same error. It's product, actually it should be product update. We are getting the empty data because there is no request.body. Okay. Hmm. So I think we have created the routes for our files, right? Uh, okay. We have also created controller like user controller and products controller. We have made functions like add product, update product, and use these functions inside this. So next thing we want to do is we want to integrate a database like MongoDB or something else, Postgres with the SQL. So here we will be only covering Express.js, right? So we will not go into that. Next, we will cover how we can do authentication in our Express.js, right? So we will just explore now documentation of Next.js, or I can say Node.js, pardon. Also we will open the documentation of Express.js. Okay. Hello world, Express generator, basic routing. Alright. So here is a basic routing. So here is the example like writing middleware, how you can write the middleware, but we'll not go into this. So this can be beneficial if we want to do something else, something customized. Hello world. Node.js learn. We have like documentations, or I can say examples for this. After that, let's learn how we can actually use static files in the Express, right? So we will use app.use express.static. What we will do is we will make a new folder, public. Inside this we can actually keep our static files like images or even videos or something else, right? or even style sheets like here. Okay, so app.use express.static express.static. Then we will give a name of our folder that we want to serve. Okay, so okay, so we also use path library to get the path of our files require path, right? So after that, we'll also use app.use app.use static we can make a folder named static. So we will write express dot static, then we will join the path dot join directory name and public. Okay, we will move this static inside our public, right? So okay, so if I go to our browser, right? If let me first download an image for like express.js. Let's download this, save image, Express.js. We have downloaded it. So in our downloads, we have just downloaded Express. Then inside our technologies, Node.js, then inside our public folder, we will paste it here, Express.js. Just rename it to Express. Right, so let's see if we can serve it. Localhost static, then express dot png. If I say public, I think there is some issues with the path, static path name, that name public. Let's move it to public, straight to the public folder. Now we will Okay, static express.png. Localhost, we will try it in postman static express.png. So to serve this, we have to do something else, I think. Wait a minute, we have to first inside our public. Okay, let's create a simple text file. Just remove this static folder, this file. This is text file, right? So inside our app.js we have to let me change this line. App.use let's move this. Now we'll try to console.log. Not the console.log. Public. To serve static files such as images, CSS files, JavaScript files, use Express.static built-in middleware function in Express. The function signature is Express.static. Okay, root options. The root argument specifies the root directory from which to serve static assets. Okay, for more information on the options, see Express.static. For example, you use the following code to serve images. Just file in a directory named public. We will just write a very simple code. Okay, so the images will be Express.js. Okay, right. So the thing is, if we write this code express.static.public, our files will be available at this path express.png. Right. Close this. We'll close this. So okay. So now if I use static with this path, will it be served at static? Then it will be served at static. Now if I remove this, app.use static express.static path.join directory with public. Inside public we have express.png. Okay, so remove this console. In the back end there are so many issues with the routing, like with the paths. If I remove static from here, okay, let me use app.use app.use express dot static static, then path, path.join, directory name, then public. Okay. So below this line we'll write static. Will it work? We'll close this, and after this okay, let's use the simple public. We will not serve it from static. Okay, so that was about the that is about serving a static file like here, right? So this is 200. Okay response. It took 9 millisecond. So that is socket initialization, DNS lookup, TCP handshake. So transfer start took the most time. Okay. So what we can do, we can also make a server with Deno, and then after that we will compare how many time it will took. Response size is 38 KB. In the post method, query params, we will not use query params, right? Okay, here is the body raw. Okay, so what I was doing wrong in this body, if we check here in the routes, I was not getting the body in this data, like update, user update. But if I go to console log, body is undefined. So let's now put a body here. Let's write user ID is equals to 1, right? Let's convert into JSON. Okay. What? So I'm sending body user ID in this post request, right? We are not using query params. Update. Now if I click on send, we have a body. Users update. I'm sending the body from post users update, but it's saying user updated. Again, it's undefined. What is the problem? Let's send the text. Let's try to send JavaScript. Body is still undefined. We're not using params, we're using body. So what can be the problem? I will be back in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I will come back later. So timing is around 9 a.m. Hello everyone, how are you doing? So we are covering the Express.js of Node.js. We have created the routes, we have created the controllers. Routes, now we are trying to get this post request working properly. User controller, users update, then we are sending body JSON. Okay. So next is we can cover different topics. Like if I go to our Express.js documentation, there are so many other examples, like how we can do authentication with login and password, content negotiation, cookie sessions, cookies, downloads, transferring files to client, working with embedded JavaScript templating. Okay, EGS, creating error pages, working with middleware, simple request handler, markdown. There are so many examples given in this. I will check post request with Postman. Sending body data. What data you send your data, you need to send with request. Typically you will be use body data with post. Okay. We use it the post for form data. Postman will automatically attach content type header. If you use the right data, will personally set a header based on the type of you select, such as text or JSON. Okay, if you manually select a content type header, that value will take precedence over what Postman sets. Form data or raw data. Type the drop-down list into the format data we can use in the raw text, JavaScript, JSON, HTML, or XML. Our let's see headers, content type. What is the content type? Application JSON. Okay, we're sending JSON. We're sending post request, but Let me just start the server again. We are sending the data, but it's not visible in our console log. Request, if I say request.user ID, will it work? So I think I will cover the next chapters or next concepts of Express later in the live stream. So until then, bye and thank you for watching. Okay, 4 viewers are watching. That's great. So yeah, I will come back later in a while. Thank you for watching. Okay, so what Karsh is asking, I'm a second year BTech undergrad who barely knows how to code. I've tried learning coding, but the problem is I get bored so easily of doing code. So initially, Karsh, that can happen when you start your coding journey. That can happen. I assume that you may be starting from some very complex projects or code examples. So I would recommend you to start from some very basic, like if you want to learn JavaScript, just learn about if else, for loops, then try to just level up from there. Okay, if you are interested in UI UX, then you must try React.js or Next.js. I have just covered the Next.js in my live stream, so you can watch that. So they have very good documentation in that. Yeah, that's all my suggestions for you, Utkarsh. Just start small, then try to level up. That's the only thing you can do. So yeah, if you're into UI UX, do not try data science because that will just make you like explore like different things like Python and some other frameworks related to machine learning. So don't try that, just go into front end first. Yeah, after that you can try back end, right? So that's it. So we will be back later in the stream. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.